This is Linux, Make the Switch, hosted by Travis.
And Brandon. You can email us at linuxmaketheswitch@gmail.com.
This is episode number 4, How to Install Software.
Before we begin, we would like to take some time and answer a few questions.
Yeah, but first I'd like to say thanks for digging us. We have over 800 digs right now, and I have to say it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the first question that we're going to answer is, are we going to branch out into other distros? We definitely plan on doing this in the future.
Yeah, we've had some suggestions to do a Gen 2 install. Right now we're not going to do that, but we will definitely do that.
Yeah, definitely in the future.
That's definitely a good Linux distro.
It's a hard distro. We don't need the Linux novice person to go ahead and jump right into something that difficult. And then some people also said the site layout was bad, really bad. And we kind of agreed, and so the site has been redesigned with a much better layout.
We've also had some complaints about no direct downloads. We had to take the downloads off immediately after we got, no, not immediately, but pretty soon after we got Doug, because our bandwidth jumped like massive, and we were afraid that we're going to run out of bandwidth.
Yeah,
so we switched to torrents.
We don't need to pretty much eat all of our bandwidth in one day, so that's kind of why we switched to torrents. And for more information on torrents, you can check out our website and find out more about how torrents work and what they are. Okay, we're going to show you how to install some software. The first software that we're going to show you how to install is a program called Wine. What Wine is it's Windows emulation. It emulates Windows under Linux. And people have been complaining, well, not really complaining, people don't want to switch over to Linux because of gaming. And we're going to show you how to install Wine. And then later on in another episode, we're going to show you how to set up like Half-Life and all those other great games in Linux.
And Wine itself stands for is Wine is not a Windows emulator. Or
Yeah, I believe that's what it is. I'm not sure though.
Well, we'll see when we get to the page. And basically, it's a recursive acronym, and Linux is known for those. Like GNU is actually one, and LAME is one too, which means LAME is not an MP3 encoder.
Alright, so we're going to go to Get Wine now. And seeing as how we're using OpenSUSE, we're going to hit that.
Yep.
And then we're running OpenSUSE 10.1, so we're going to choose this one. We don't want the source RPM, we want the actual program. So we're going to go ahead and click that. Let's see. Let's find a mirror that's close to home. There we go. And right now we're going to download it. Continue. Save to disk. And now it's going to go ahead and download. It's not going to, only 20 seconds, not bad.
Yep.
Okay, the other program that we're going to show you how to install is a program called GCC. It's the GNU C compiler, and you use that to install programs to install from source.
Which was what the source RPM was
Yes.
the source.
It contained the source for it, and we would have to go through and use the command line and install. But we're going to use a program called YAST to install the GCC program for us. Okay, now Wine is already downloaded, the installer is, so we're going to click that, and it's going to load up. It's going to ask us for a root password. Type in the root password. Let's make sure I spell it right.
And basically, root is just another, I guess, security feature, so you don't install anything that might mess up your install of Linux. Like in Windows, you're actually already installed as admin, so you can, install programs without any problem. But in Linux, they kind of,
Yeah, Linux, they make it a little bit more secure by the
Yeah.
fact that you don't always run as the administrator, the root user. That way, if you're never really supposed to run as root, and if you do, you got to be very sparingly when you do so. And in Windows, pretty much everybody runs as some form of administrator. And with administrator, you have full rights to the computer, and that's not good. People can take advantage of that. That's why you never run as root. And right now it's taking a little bit of time to load up the installer program because we're running off of emulation right now. That makes it much easier for us to capture the videos, and so you get an actual real video and not a cam.
Yeah.
Like if you use Usenet or BitTorrent and download a new movie and you end up seeing a cam and it looks like crap, yeah, we're not like that.
Alright, the installer is loaded.
And we're just going to hit install because the box is already checked.
Yeah. You don't really have to mess with anything. If the box is unchecked, which it will never be pretty much, you just check it. That's
Or if
all.
you don't want to install it, then you shouldn't have, well, first off, you shouldn't have downloaded it in the first place, but that's something different.
Yeah, that happens.
And right now we're resolving dependencies, making sure we can actually install the program. Because if we don't have all the right dependencies, it's not going to run, then we're going to have a bad install, and that's never good.
Yeah. Which is why you don't really want to run as root too often, because if some program happens to be installed, which is kind of, I guess, not a security feature, then it will mess up your machine. But since you're not as root, it won't
Yeah.
install.
It'll only mess up your user, not the whole entire system,
Yeah.
which is a good thing.
Mhm.
Because there's nothing worse than having your whole entire system compromised because of an idiot mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's starting to install the packages. It's going to take a little bit of time, maybe about 5 minutes, somewhere around there. So we're going to bug you for the next 5 minutes talking about random stuff.
Yeah. The bar is actually going pretty quick. Maybe it's not 5 minutes.
Maybe it's a slight exaggeration, but
Anyways, thanks for the digs. I'd just like to say again, and really helped us out.
yeah, we're definitely spreading the message about Linux, and regardless of what some people have said, the Linux community is not supposed to be about bashing each other. We're supposed to be supporting Linux in any way possible. And if this is supporting Linux, which we believe it is, then I say we should go ahead and keep doing this. And if you don't have to download and watch the episodes. So, buzz off. And some people have said that, that we might be Linux noobs, and that's not really all that true. We have about 5 or 6, maybe even 7 years between the both of us, well, the two of us, of Linux, so we are not really Linux novices. We definitely know our way, well, at least I do know my way around the command prompt, do pretty much everything from that. And Travis here still loves his GUI, but
Yes, I'm all about the GUI, but that's
the
just me.
graphical user interface for you non-techies out there.
Yeah. But the command line is good, and it has its uses. And if you're definitely using Linux,
You're more than likely going to end up using the command line at some point.
Yeah, I found that out yesterday, actually.
Yeah, especially once we get into more newer episodes, we're going to start diving more into the command line, showing you some cool tips and tricks. Like if, let's say, you install an older version of OpenSUSE or Red Hat and you have an older kernel and you need to upgrade, we're definitely going to have an entire episode dedicated to how to update your kernel.
Yeah. And I guess for the new people of Linux out there, the kernel is basically the main thing that controls
Yeah, it
your
is the
computer.
operating system.
Yeah.
Without the kernel, there would be nothing.
Basically makes the hardware components and the software components all work.
And it's still installing packages. Nope, it's finishing right now. So we should be just about good. We do have our videos up on Google right now. On the home page, we will have a link to all of the Google videos that we uploaded.
Mhm.
And this episode will probably be up on Google Video either sometime tonight or late tomorrow.
Yeah. And we also have a mirror running thanks to I guess a supporter out there, which we'd like to thank.
Yes, we would very much appreciate people mirroring us or seeding the torrents for us. That way we're not eating up all of our own bandwidth as well. So I had this computer on for about 2 days now with a torrent server seeding all the torrents for everybody.
Alright, and it's done.
Okay, the installation was successful. There we go. That's all we need to worry about for right now until we get later on, and we'll talk a little bit more about Wine and how it's used.
If you just want to show them how to start up Wine for this.
Well, Wine has no graphical user interface. It's all command line.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're definitely going to get into that later. You need to know it. If you want to run all your Windows games on Linux, you're going to need to use Wine.
Yeah.
So we're going to show you how to install the program GCC right now, which is a GNU C compiler. And we're going to go to System YAST.
Which is our control center.
Yep, our control center.
And the GCC is actually what you're going to be using to compile from source, which is another way of installing.
Yes.
I think we've mentioned that earlier. And again, it's prompting you to log in.
Yep, it's asking for our root password again.
Again, because it's the control center, so it pretty much controls your computer there, so you don't want to mess it up.
Alright, this is the YAST control center. We have software, hardware if you want to tweak your hardware, system information, your bootloader, like we use grub, partitioning, language, oops, we didn't mean to click on that. We have network devices, network services, Novell App Armor, security and users if you want to add another user, another group, firewall information. Then we have miscellaneous. We'll click no on that.
That was
That was the
mistake.
partitioner thing
Yeah.
that we accidentally clicked on. Alright, we're going to want to use the software tab and go to software management. This is what we actually need. It's going to take a little bit to load up here. There we go. And this is how you install software. You got to make sure you have your disk in the computer though, because if you don't, well, it's going to say there's no disk.
Yeah.
It's just like installing anything from, like if you use Windows, if you want to install the IIS, which is the web server for Windows. And it's not all that great, but hey, we use it on our site. We use GoDaddy for hosting, which is another thing. People complained about us using Windows as our hosting thing.
We do have, I guess we don't have control over what the hosting uses. But
Well, we do, but when we set this up, we didn't realize at first that we chose Windows. We just wanted to get this thing up and running, and we didn't realize that we might have the switch over to Linux for that, but it's not a big deal. It's just what we use to host. It's no biggie. And people out there who say it is, well, you're wrong, because we're still spreading the message out there.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how we do it, as long as we do.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Okay, we could either search for the software, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go to package groups. Wait, nope, not package groups. We're going to go to selections. There we go. And right here, C, C++, compiler, and tools. See, there's GCC, there's GCC-C++. All this software right here, we're going to install because we're going to use later on.
So we're just going to click the entire selection.
Yep.
Instead of individually clicking each one. So
Yeah, that'd be a waste of time.
Yeah.
And now we're going to hit accept. Okay, now it's going to go ahead and actually install all the stuff that we selected.
You saw a similar screen when installing the operating system itself.
Yes, that you did. And we will join you when this is almost done. And now we're back with about 37 seconds remaining. So, how's it been going?
It would appear that looks like everything is installing right. We haven't had any errors or anything, which is
Nope.
always important. I mean, if you don't have to sit and watch this, but if you do, you can see if it gives you an error, and it'll save you time, I guess, because you don't have to go back and reinstall. It's all cool.
Well, if it gives you an error, it'll pretty much abort itself, and then you have to go ahead, find the error, fix the error. And seeing as how we're installing directly from the disk, and it checked all the dependencies, we're not going to have any errors.
We shouldn't, unless you get a read error from the disk, but that's completely separate.
Yeah, then it'd be your hardware failing, and not Linux. And not even the great Linux can fix crappy hardware.
Yeah, that's true. I actually had a problem with crappy hardware a while back in Red Hat 8 days.
Okay, it's pretty much done. We just installed the GCC, the GNU C compiler, so now we can start compiling things from source, and we'll get into that later as well.
This installer window will pretty much close out. It'll say just, finish,
Then it's going to have to go ahead and run some config files, get everything installed, set up, make sure it's working, and there we go.
Yep. Let's wait for this to finish out. Again, we'll just throw in a plug for our email, Linux make the switch at gmail.com. Emails with comments, video or suggestions for new episodes.
Yeah, we're always open for suggestions if you guys want to, except maybe for Gen 2 for right now. We will definitely hit Gen 2. It's one of the bigger distros out there. But if you want a video on something small, like how to install a certain application or help with a certain program or anything like that.
Maybe setting up networking.
Yeah, networking in Linux, connecting to a Windows network, an Active Directory, stuff like that. You guys want us to do a video on that, you can email us suggestions at linuxmaketheswitch@gmail.com. Or if you want to give us a nice pat on the back email, you can go ahead and do that. We don't really like the flaming that we've been getting, especially on dig.com, and we had a few on our website. That's why the comment feature is not up right now.
Constructive criticism, please.
Yes.
Not just criticism, constructive.
Yes.
That's what we like.
We want to know how to improve ourselves, and we don't need idiots flaming for no apparent reason that this is stupid.
This complete bashing was completely unacceptable.
Yes, not something that we want to have on a site where new Linux users want to go and visit. We want them to be welcomed, not to be, sworn at up and down.
Yeah.
And as I said, is writing the system configuration. It's going ahead and running all of the stuff that we changed when we installed.
Yeah. This should only take a couple of minutes. I
mean, not even.
Yeah, not even, yeah.
The comment feature will be back up soon. I'm reworking it, so there'll be no more VB runtime errors.
Yeah.
We're going to switch over to PHP again for the comment system. I had some issues getting the PHP thing to work. That's why we used ASP, but not anymore. I am currently working on getting a better comment system, and so you can't just, type in just spaces and have it be sent as a comment. It has some form of moderation in there as well.
Alright, and we have the
install or remove more packages. Nope.
And
there we go. We just installed GCC, and we will show you how to use that later on.
Alright.
That is it for episode number 4, how to install, some software at least. We installed Wine, we installed GCC, 2 main programs that we're going to definitely be using later on.
Alright, yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Until next time, make the switch to Linux.